Hey guys, have you ever heard about audience analysis? Audience analysis involves identifying the audience and adapting a speech to their interests, level of understanding, attitude, and their belief. Audience-centered communication is a type of communication where a speaker analyzes the audience to determine the content, language usage, and the listener expectation. To be audience-centered, you need to keep several questions in mind when you work on your speech.
First, to whom am I speaking? What do I want them to know, believe, or do as a result of my speech? And the last one is, what is the most effective way of composing and presenting my speech to accomplish their aim?
The answers to this question will influence every decision you make along the way. First, selecting the topic, and then determine the specific purpose, and then settling on your main point and supporting materials, organizing the message, and then deliver your speech.
For psychology of audience, there are three main things speaker needs to know. First, audience love to follow leaders. There was an experiment done in the 60s, which is the Milgram experiment, that measured the willingness of people to obey an authority figure. An audience wants and expects you to lead them, and it's okay to step into that role, if even for just the length of the presentation. Second, audience judge quickly. Audience decide very quickly whether they are going to engage with you or not, completely unconsciously and within seconds. A strong opening and introduction is therefore essential to make sure they engage and follow your lead throughout your presentation. Lastly, speakers mirror emotions. Energy and emotions are contagious. If you display confidence, your audience will pick up on that vibe and will mirror it back. They will be confident in you and much more likely to engage in your message.
Then, let's talk about demographic audience analysis. What is it and why is it important to public speakers? It is an analysis of your audience focusing on their demographic features such as age, gender, religion, cultural or racial background. This method consists of two main steps. The first is identifying the general demographic features of your audience, and the second step is gauging the importance of these features to a particular speaking situation. By doing this, public speakers can influence their audience attention by relating the topic with something close to the audience. This method can be a very useful tool for public speakers in understanding their audience, but keep in mind that it is important for us to avoid stereotyping.
Next part of audience analysis is stereotypes. First, be careful not to stereotype on the basis of demographic characteristics. Although true audience analysis demands taking demographic factors into account, such analysis does not legitimate stereotyping. Stereotypes are fixed beliefs or opinions about people in a particular group. Stereotyping neglects individual differences and often causes people to make decisions based on flawed reasoning. Avoiding stereotyping and totalizing are important because you cannot assume everything about an audience based on just one demographic characteristic. Two or three might be important. The age of a group will be important in how they think and about investing their money, but so will the socio-economic level, career or profession, and even where they live. Even their religious beliefs may come into it. A good speaker will be aware of more than one or two characteristics of the audience. The best way to avoid stereotyping is to learn as much as possible about an audience using above techniques, instead of relying on preconceived notions of a group.
So, I will continue with audience adaptation. Audience adaptation is a process of tailoring your speech information with needs, interests, and expectations of your listener. Remember, speech is not about what you want to say, and it's also not what the audience want to hear. But it is what you need to say. In audience adaptation, firstly, you need to establish your goal. Next, you need to determine who is your audience by knowing their background information such as their culture. Then, you need to find the similarity between your goal and your audience. And you also need to know what type of message and support will be effective for them.
As a public speaker, it is vital that you take into account the situational factors that determine how you can adapt your speech to a given audience. No two audiences are the same, so even if you're giving the same topic to the same group of people, they might respond differently based on a variety of factors. These factors may include the size of the audience, the physical setting, whether it be indoor or outdoor with or without a microphone, the disposition of the audience to the topic, for example, if they're well educated or if they're not so familiar with the topic material. Number 4, you must also consider any audience bias. For example, if you are not of their cultural background or faith, you might have to build the trust. And 5, you must also consider how interested the audience is in the topic that you're talking about. For example, a high school debate versus a graduation assembly.